Hi, I'm Bill Becker. I'm running for City Council here in Middletown, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about why and why I think you should vote for me. First of all, let's start with my experience. I've been involved in city government in some fashion for now over 34 years. I've been a patrol officer, I've been a detective, I've been a supervisor, I've been a chief of police for about 10 years in Middletown, and finally as a city manager. There's no other candidate that I know of, either currently serving on council or running for council, that I think has the knowledge and the experience that I have to help run this city and to get us moving forward again. You know, Middletown's it's a great city, and we're not perfect, but yet we have problems like everybody else. The problems are well known. I don't want to go into just sit here all day and talk about what's wrong with Middletown, because I think there's a lot of good in Middletown also. But like older cities, we have our challenges, and we can get to each and every one of those challenges by working together. I think one of the things I can bring to council is that cohesiveness. I'm used to controversy, I'm used to being on the hot seat, and I'm not afraid of challenges. So I think that I can help get council to work together, get a new manager in here, and start making Middletown a better place to live for all of us. We have a tremendous opportunity that we need to be taking advantage of, and that's our location. We're located between Cincinnati and Dayton. It's no secret that these two major cities are moving together. We're poised to open a new hospital out here in the fall. That hospital will bring growth. We've set the foundation, particularly in the East End around that hospital, to make that one of the better job centers in southwestern Ohio. The economy's changed. We're no longer the big manufacturing mecca that we were when I came to Middletown some 30 years ago. Gosh, when I first started Middletown, we had factories upon factories and jobs, and it just went on and on. But the times have changed. Middletown's changed. The whole world has changed. You don't have to look very far to see that the manufacturing era is over, and we need to take advantage of the new growth and new type jobs, which I think we can bring to that interstate. We have to address our public safety forces. During the last year that I was a manager, we were forced to make budget cuts, many of those in public safety, and we must address those needs. Both police and fire are extremely important services to us. They're struggling. Read the paper on any given day and see some of the issues both on the police side and the fire side. We've got to find a way to make sure that they have the funds necessary so that they can grow along with the city. Once again, it's not easy, but it has to happen. We have to set priorities, and I think public safety has to be the #1 priority. We have infrastructure problems. We have old streets like many cities. We need to find a way to start rebuilding our infrastructure before it becomes to the point that it can't be rebuilt. All this is going to take money. We need to find ways to be the most efficient we can in city government, and yet still provide the services that our citizens demand and our citizens are entitled to. I've worked with these budgets for years and years and years, so I'm ready to go, and I think I can bring a lot to council. I can support a council that's ready to work to make Middletown a better place, and I'm anxious to do so. And I think I bring a lot of experience there. I understand it. I don't want to go in and reorganize. That's not the role of a councilman. That's the role of the new manager. I would certainly support hiring a manager that will stand and look at things differently and make sure that we are being the most efficient, and then give the manager the authority and back that manager up so that we can do what needs to get done. I think that's another very, very important thing. You know, I came to Middletown in the early 70s, and I actually grew up right down the road in Hamilton, Ohio, and when I was looking for employment, and at that time I was looking for a police department, and some people that I respected and were in law enforcement in the Butler County area, they said, you know, you ought to go to Middletown. It's a town that's growing. It's a town that knows what's going on, and so I did. But at that time, you could drive down Central Avenue, and it was a bustling place of employment. It was shortly after I got here, I believe, when we actually closed the street and built the mall. But back then, there were viable businesses throughout the community, in particular Central Avenue and the whole downtown. As I've said earlier, the times have changed, but we certainly have the opportunity to redevelop some of the downtown and to make it once again, in its own niche, a place for employment. There's certainly some beautiful buildings, affordable places for people to locate, and we need to make it attractive and do all we can do, whether it's incentives or making sure that the proper pieces are in place so that we can attract those smaller businesses in the new economy, which is going to turn Middletown around. If there's roadblocks out there, I tried very, very hard in my years as manager to eliminate some of those roadblocks. Some I was successful with, some not quite. But the one thing I did do is work very hard with the Chamber of Commerce and with the business leaders of this town to develop an economic development model and get somebody on board that understands economic development and work together with the Chamber and the business community to improve Middletown. We can't rely solely on tax increases to get us out of this mess. We have to reinvent Middletown and get new jobs here, whether they're 5 employers, 50 employees, or 500 employees. We got to get to the point where businesses will want to come and take advantage of our strengths. And our strengths, once again, is location. As bad as things are in Middletown, we're fortunate. A lot of the cities in our shape don't have the location and some of the resources we have. So we have to take advantage of that. Certainly the East End will develop on its own. We just got to make sure we do that correctly. The rest of the town is challenging, but we still have a great location. We have affordable rent, affordable way for people to come in and open a business. So that has to happen. I think strengthening our economic development department, working more and more with the private sector, the business community is key. I was very much in favor of partnering with the private sector, and that I will support that and take that to the next level as a council person. I think that's key to our success. You know, another need of ours is to reverse this trend of the younger families or the young professionals, instead of maybe looking at outside the city limits, but to see why they should locate here in Middletown. Got to go back to that location again. If you're a family that maybe you have a dual working family, and one in the north and one in the south of our area, what a great opportunity. You can come right here to Middletown. Middletown has a lot to offer to young families. I've talked to several that have done that. One spouse works in the Cincinnati region and the other in the Dayton, and they looked at Middletown as number one, it's affordable. You know, you can get a lot of, particularly right now, I mean, the whole housing market's down throughout the country, but you can come to Middletown and you can get a tremendous lot of house here that if you go just 15 miles down the road in either direction, you're going to pay a lot more for it. So I think that's something that we need to capitalize on. We need to make Middletown attractive to those young professionals that will move in here and then get them involved in this community. I've talked to some of those that are ready. They've got children in the school system and they're interested in Middletown. That, I think, is another big key to our success and our future. Sometimes you get painted with the wrong brush, but this is a great community with a lot of great people, and it has a lot of tradition and it has a lot of promise. And I think working together and starting to show people the good side of Middletown, why they should locate here, I think is another key to our future. And that, once again, has to start with council. We're on the verge of turning Middletown around. We've got to turn this negative attitude of this town around. Quit worrying about what happened 20 years ago. Quit worrying about what happened 2 years ago. And let's start looking about what the future of Middletown will be and working together to improve. If we would put all this negative energy in this community together and work for the betterment of this town, nothing can stop us. I mean, once again, that's where it has to start, with the leadership of council. It has to start there. We got to get the council that wants to work together and look at the positives of Middletown and not be afraid to tackle those issues that we have, and we'll get through it. Let's talk about diversity of this community a little bit. That should be our strength and not a weakness. This community, and in my experiences, particularly as a police chief, is working with the entire community, and a lot with our minority community. I think I can speak intelligently to this. Everybody really wants what's best for Middletown, and we need to pull that together and take that synergy and quit worrying about this us versus them mentality. There are good people throughout this community. There are bad people throughout this community. I spent too many years in the police department not to think differently, but it isn't a race or a black or white issue. What we need to do is capture those that want to move Middletown forward and find the common ground and work together to make it a better community. I have worked extremely hard, particularly as the chief of police, trying to overcome some of those obstacles that have been in existence for years. Successful with some still need work. But that's a key. You know what? Middletown's only 50,000 people. Now, it's not small, but it's certainly not big. But we got to be able to pull this town together and be something special. It's not that difficult. Put some of these old wounds aside and all these hard feelings, and look at what's best. And we got to look beyond our boundaries. We got to. It's a regional thing, but diversity should be a strength in this community and not a weakness. And we need to capitalize on that. And I think we can do that. And once again, it's got to start with those 7 people sitting at that council table. I think I do bring the leadership. I think I was a proven leader as the police chief. I took the police department to the next level, even to the point where we became an accredited police agency. We became a department of officers who were accountable for their actions and came a long way. Same thing as manager. I think I showed through some very, very difficult times the leadership that's necessary to keep this city moving. I want to take that leadership into the council seat now. I think and help those other 6 council members to lead this community to something better than what we've had. So I think that's real, real important. And I hope one thing that you understand is, as I've talked here this afternoon, is my commitment to this community. I love Middletown. I could leave here. I could have left here years ago. I could have retired years ago. But I have roots here now. I have grandkids coming up in this community. I hope as my daughter graduates from college here in a few months, certainly hope she comes back to this area for her career. But Middletown has a lot to offer, and I'm committed to it. And I think that's what it's going to take. It's going to take strong leadership. It's going to take commitment, and it's going to take experience to get us moving. I think I have all 3 of those, probably more so than anybody else on both at the table or running. And I'm ready to go to work. I'm Bill Becker. I'm running for City Council, and I need your support.